Why did the cowboy have to get a wiener dog? Someone told him to get along, little doggy. Hey guys, Josh Cheney here again with Pastor Jeff as we continue digging into remembering to recover and how we very often try to push portions of our memory out of our own mind to keep from healing, even though we think if I just ignore it, everything will be fine, I won't have to deal with it. That's not necessarily how it works. And as we talked about the story here, as God is leaving the Israelites out of slavery, and he gets them to the Red Sea, and he splits the sea, and then they're in the wilderness, and 11 days becomes 40 years, and I'm thinking about that, thinking that's kind of like if we decided today that we wanted to take a cross-country trip from New York to California, kind of plan it out and be like, it's kind of leisurely, we can drive, it'd probably take about 11 days just to take our own time, but instead it ends up being 2041. Nope, not even 41. 61. See, that's how long.
Right.
It's hard to even grasp how, well, let's go from New York to California. We'll just kind of go through here, and all of a sudden, 40 years, generations of people who can't necessarily connect that splitting of the sea into where they're at now through food, through manna, through all these different things. How is it that we, so much like them, can look at this miraculous event and still not trust in God?
I think the problem that we have is that we're kind of creatures of the moment, right? What have you done for me lately, kind of a thing. And so, God, thank you for opening up the sea, and it's wonderful while I'm walking through the sea, and it's cool when I'm watching it close behind me, and my enemy's chasing me, and they're getting sucked up into the sea, and that's all beautiful, but I'm hungry right now, and I want food right now. So that was great and all, but what are you doing for me today?
Yeah.
And man, we are notorious. We humans are notorious for that. That's kind of where we live our life. It's so easy to forget what's been behind us when we're staring at hunger or pain or I don't know, what feels like desperation in the face. What we experienced yesterday seems like forever ago.
Yeah. And I know for me, it's one of those things where I want to get to the destination so quickly. I want to grow in Christ. I want to see these miraculous things that other people talk about. It's really a comparison game to a large degree. Sometimes I compare myself with you or someone else and say, oh, they're having some type of breakthrough or something, and I just forget that maybe even I had a similar breakthrough or if it was something different. So how do you overcome that comparison game?
Well, man, if I get back to me on that, will you? Because I feel like I haven't figured that out.
Hard-hitting questions.
Well, the struggle is that the season that we're in, the context that we're in a church, right? And we're looking around to see what other people are doing, and we're looking around to see what's happening around us, and we're looking around and we're going, well, man, why do they have it so good and we're struggling so much, or whatever, and man, it's hard to get out of that cycle once you're in it. And it's like that in every area of your life, right? It's like I'm always looking at the grass on the other side of the fence and thinking, why is it so green? Why is it so green? Why is it so green? When in reality, it's not always more green. It just feels more green because my grass feels brown, you know? And so it's, I can't. I wish I had a great answer for that.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is it's a struggle for me personally.
Yeah. I think the best answer to that is probably pray first. Is that something?
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a really good answer. Read the Bible, you know, things like that we should be doing for sure.
But it is, to your point, and the message is just remembering. It's all it takes is a few moments of, oh, that's right. You did split a sea that I didn't even know that this could happen. And that can be the proverbial anything in our life where we just got to a wall and didn't think it was going to happen. It takes very little time to remember that, but the practice of doing it, I think, builds a lot of momentum.
It does. A couple weeks ago, we were doing the rice packing at CLC, and I was in a bad spot a couple days later, and I found myself feeling sorry for myself and frustrated, and God kind of showed me again, took me back to the rice packing moment, and I started to think about, I have so much to be grateful for. One of the things I have to be grateful for is that I don't have to eat rice packs every day of my life for the rest of my life. And I thought to myself, God has blown me away by the provision he's offered me. And obviously, I'm not saying that our friends in Africa don't deserve the same blessing somehow. Mm-hmm. What I am saying is, I don't know why they're going through what they're going through, and I don't know why they have to eat the rice packs every day, but I know that that's not been my lot. What do I have to complain about, right? And so, again, perfect example of God had to put in front of me what he's already done for me to remind me, get out of your dang funk and quit whining about it and just move forward.
That's it. I think that's a perfect place to stop for this, because words of wisdom from Pastor Jeff. Get out of your dang funk. And compare.
and by the way, we're all about restoring hope one life at a time through Jesus Christ. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, Josh Cheney here again with Jeff, and I am so grateful to be sitting here next to you. Are you grateful to be sitting next to me? Or?
I am.
Oh.
I am.
Well, that is a great segue into what I want to talk about right now, and that's gratitude.
I'm grateful that you want to talk about gratitude.
I'm grateful that you're grateful. It is so nice to be grateful. What a new perspective we developed here. Listen, this is something that you mentioned in the message of we're trying to remember ways to remember, and even one of the questions that you threw out there is like, what ways did God bless me in the last few days or last 24 hours? It's not a long period of time. Doesn't have to be over the last few years because we forget those.
Absolutely.
But quite literally in the last 24 hours. Something my family does often, even with some younger kids, is just say, what's your high point of the day? How did God bless you today? And even if it's something like, sometimes we belittle that kind of, well, I woke up today or I still have breath, but that starts a process that God will continue through and finish. In the ways that we do that, how do you think, what's the best way to start?
Well, number one, don't belittle. I like the word belittle, right? Mm-hmm. Don't belittle whatever it is. So like I woke up this morning is something to be incredibly grateful for. The fact that I'm drawing breath today is something to be incredibly grateful for. We forget, because those are normal functions of our life, that those are a gift from God. Mm-hmm. God gave us our first breath. God gave us the opportunity to wake up this morning. That's something to be grateful for. And so start there. That's a great place to start. Mm-hmm. But I think as you take a minute to look back at the day, as you take a minute to go, because we naturally complain. It doesn't take us long to remember the thing that didn't go the way that we wanted to go. So there's some discipline involved. But taking a moment to sit down and go, all right, where do I see God working in my life today? Where did I see him, even in the midst of I'm so angry that guy pulled out in front of me. I'm so angry about how this thing went at work. I'm so angry that my food didn't come out the way I ordered it at McDonald's, or whatever it is. What did God do? What are the things that I watched him do? My wife does this. We've talked about this before, but my wife has these things that she calls love notes from God. And it started years ago. She saw in the clouds the shape of a heart. She was kind of going through some stuff, and she was praying, and in the distance she spotted a heart in the clouds. And she saw it as a love note from God. And all of a sudden, she started seeing them all over the place in all kinds of crazy ways. For me, those are the things that you discipline yourself to start looking for, is that God's dropping us love notes all the time. And we'll live our lives gratefully if we can find ourselves disciplining ourselves to look for those things all the time.
Yeah, it reminds me, the only way to really stop negativity or complaining is with positivity.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's kind of a runaway train. There's no complaining, as you were talking about, my food was messed up at McDonald's. The first thing that I thought when you said that was, man, McDonald's takes forever in line. Who could even sit there that long?
But we're grateful for McDonald's.
But exactly it. But that's how quickly the minds do that, where it's just like, oh, yeah, I've had that happen before or whatever. And if you don't stop and say, but I'm grateful to even have a McDonald's. Yeah. I'm grateful to be in a spot where I can afford to go there or have the ability to even get to a McDonald's. There's so many things in the small, minute details, like you said, that we just overlook. So it's not splitting the Red Sea or all these miraculous things that happen that is just, the moment of salvation or baptism or whatever. It is literally finding God in the little things. And once you start that ball rolling, it becomes much bigger, much faster.
And he's so evident. He's so evident if you're paying attention. So it's about paying attention. It's about disciplining yourself. And it's difficult to start, I think. You alluded to that earlier. But start somewhere. Start with man, I'm so grateful to wake up this morning. Man, I'm so grateful. And then you'll find yourself paying attention to the things that happen day to day. Yeah.
Yep. So that life doesn't happen to us, it happens through us. And we
good.
Can extend that.
That's good. So, that's really good.
Well,
you could preach a sermon about that.
That'll preach, I guess.
I think it will.
I guess. We'll see. Yeah. You're going to have to stay tuned to figure out if that's the case or not. I'm going to have to work on my gratitude list. We'll work on ours together.
Sounds good.
And maybe even get to a really fast McDonald's line one day.
I'm grateful for you, Josh.
I'm grateful for you, Jeff. We're grateful for you as well, and that's because we're restoring hope one gratitude list at a time through Jesus Christ.